I would just like to say, I think one of the most surprising NBA team growths this year has to be the Houston Rockets. I mean, last year they finished 41-41 and they've turned a new leaf. They are on pace to finish the season with 56 wins and 26 losses. And I mean, that's an insane jump. I mean, we're looking at a 15-game jump despite not really changing their roster much from last year. I mean, my main concern leading up to this year was a lack of ball movement and team synergy that we saw from the Rockets last season. And I always kind of felt the Rockets needed a couple of seasoned veterans to kind of help, for lack of a better term, straighten out the young guys and mold them into great team players. And it seems like Udoka's got that down this season. Speaking of Ime Udoka, when Udoka took over the Rockets at the beginning of last season, the team finished the year prior with a 22-60 record. Udoka has been a very valuable addition to this team and organization. And I would like to add a couple stats that I have found pretty interesting. Before I tell you about the stat, I would like to explain it a little bit. And it's called the SRS stat, or the Simple Rating System. And basically, they take a team's margin of victory, and then you either subtract it or add based on whatever the strength of schedule is, and that's your number. And if we take that into account, the Houston Rockets this year are having the second best SRS season in team history, just behind the 2017-2018 James Harden-led Houston Rockets. Now, that James Harden team had an SRS score of 8.21, and this year's Houston Rockets team has a SRS score of 6.62, and they are on pace to have one of the greatest seasons in Houston Rockets basketball. And I mean, some personal notes that I've seen this season is just the Rockets are more of a defensive-minded team than they've been in the past. And they've also they've seemed to pass the ball a lot more, and they've averaged more assists this year than they did last season. Jalen Green's progression from last season has been a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, so far this season, Jalen Green has averaged 21 points a game, 4 boards, and 2 assists. I really love what I'm seeing out of Jalen Green and the Rockets, and I hope that they can make a push for this Western Conference title this year, or at least in years to come. God, I love this sport.
Didn't matter, did it? Not at all. That's the kind of zone that young man is in. Another three.